Hey, what's up guys? It's Jesus here with the Vanguard, and today we're going to be doing a deck profile on G Blasters. So happy 15th anniversary for Cardfight Vanguard. One way for me to celebrate the 15th anniversary is to show off some of my favorite cards throughout Vanguard history, and I actually have a few decks that are G regulation. They're not the G boot, the new the modern G format that a lot of people have been playing, which that format is very cool. These are strictly like what I would have played back in the final days of Vanguard G. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna start it with honestly the deck that started it all for me, which was Blasters. This deck, you can go back like ages ago. Like, I think the first deck profile that I ever did, and this is on a different channel, was for not Things Saver. It was for Sanctuary Guard Blasters. A lot of these cards I have been playing since I began playing the game. I mean, right here is the key card in all of my decks. Like, back in the day, we didn't have starters that all did the same thing back in the day. Some decks had good starters, some decks had really bad starters, and this is one of my favorite starters, and arguably one of the best starters in the game, Wingle Brave. Wingle Brave is a card that was released back in Awakening of the Twin Blades. It was a double R and a SP. This is the double R. I never got the SP, but this double R has been with me for years. So this is the guy. This is the pal. He has Forerunner. When another Royal Paladin writes this, you may call it to rear. Put this unit into the soul when an attack hits during the battle of the boosted unit with Blaster in its name. Search your deck for a Blaster, add it to your deck, or add it to your hand from deck and shuffle. Insane card. Like, this card was so good. I mean, for most builds, it was live if you went second, if you had that grade 1 Blaster Laura. For majority of the Royal Paladin decks, it was live the second you hit grade 2. The only problem is if you played against decks that could easily retire this little guy. But even then, I'm pretty sure he sticks around. So yeah, Wingle Brave, that's a starter. So let's go with grade 3s. We run 4 copies of Blaster Blade Exceed. One of the coolest evolutions to come out in the series. One of my favorite cards of all time. Like, honestly, Blaster Blade is my favorite card of all time. During G, oh man, whenever Blasters got support, I was so fucking hyped. During V, same thing. As much as I hated the fact that they made Alfred a Blaster Blade tutor, I still couldn't be mad at that because I really love Blaster Blade. It's one of my favorite decks. That's why I play the most annoying fucking deck in Standard, because Blaster Blade is one of my favorite cards. But what does this guy do? When he's placed on Vanguard or Rear Circle, Counterblast 1. Retire an opponent's grade 1 or greater rear guard. Really good card. It's an upgrade from the previous Counterblast 2. Retire, I believe it was a grade 2 or greater back in the day. Yeah. So, great card. The second skill is when you stride, you can Counterblast 1. If you stride over on top of this with a Saber unit, you can Counterblast 1, search your deck for a Blaster Blade card, and shuffle the deck. The cool thing about it is you can search for the grade 2 Blaster Blade, you can search for a copy of itself. There's a lot of things that you can do with this. Honestly, this card is amazing because you could literally just search another copy, get to GB3 and Ultimate Stride the next turn, especially if you're able to G guard, or if you go into different types of G units. So this card is capital A amazing. I love this card. This card is really cool. The next grade 3 rerun is 3 copies of New Style Blaster Lou. I feel like a proud parent when I look at Lou, especially the grade 2 and grade 3 versions of him, because like you truly do feel like your kid like finally like grew up. He's no longer a grade 0 crit, he's no longer a grade 1 liberator. Now he is a grade 2 blaster tutor, attack extender, and now he's a fucking like grade 3 perfect, like he's just so cool. So the thing I love about what they did back in the day is that he's a great like support rearguard, but as a Vanguard on his own, he's not bad either. He's got a Vanguard skill or rearguard skill where you choose a blaster blade from your drop, put it to the bottom of the deck, and it gets 5k power. And he has a continuous on rearguard and guardian circle that if you have a blaster or Alfred Vanguard, he gets 5k shield and intercept. Like, if you guys saw my last video about me complaining about grade 3s that were kind of useless, this is why, in my opinion, Persona Ride is a flawed mechanic. The thing is, before we had a ride line, you were running multiple grade 3s because you needed to ride into a grade 3. And so, if you did not draw into your Blaster Blade, if your opponent was guarding all of your Wingle Brave attacks and you were or you whiffed the Wingle, or you can't whiff a Wingle Break, but like, you know, if you had no way of getting into Exceed and you had Lou, you were still in a pretty good spot. Especially because he has a Vanguard skill. But because Persona Ride exists, that doesn't do shit for you. But then again, you wouldn't be in that situation in the first place. If this card was a modern card, I don't even think it should have been a grade 3. I think it could have been a grade 2. You can tutor, you can put a Blaster Blade to the bottom, get 5k, and he has 5k shield and intercept. Pretty much the same thing as fucking Gordon. So that's what I was talking about when I referred to my previous video about the mechanics that I fucking hate in Overdress. But here in G, necessary, because there's no right deck. Alright, enough of this bullshit. Let's go back to the deck profile. We run 4 copies of Blaster Blade. He is, you know, I'm gonna give it to Bushiroad. It's super impressive that this card, up until the very end of the era that it was legal to play in the deck, was relevant. Like, the fact that like this Trial Deck 1 card was relevant because of an engine that was created for it is insane to me. Now the cool thing is, it's not an engine that just maximizes what Blaster Blade does. It's an engine that utilizes Blaster Blade in a completely different way, because Blaster Blade, all it is Counterblast 2 retire something. But this engine made it a multi-attacking like behemoth. This deck is like, it's a great example of like what you really can do if you think outside the box when it comes to like legacy support in a card game. We're not maximizing what this thing does. This thing searches copies of itself and retires. The only thing that it has in common with this guy is that it retires. But the reason this guy is good is not the fact that it retires, it's the fact that it can restand because of other cards that work with it. It's not even a lot, it's just 3 cards that were added. One of those cards is Favorite Pupil of Light and Dark Lou. I remember back in the day I wish this guy was a blaster so that you could do more shenanigans, but obviously there's a reason why. Lou has an amazing skill. When this unit is boosted by Blaster from Barkle or Flogel, it gets 3,000 power, so it becomes a 12k attacker. And, well, 12k plus, you know, the 7k or the 4k that it got from Flogel. Not 4k, 5k. Yeah, no, it was 4k. But he gets a skill. Counterblast 1. Put this unit into the soul. At the end of the battle that this unit attacked the Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, search your deck for a grade 2 card with Blaster Blade in its name, or with Blaster in its card name. to rear, shuffle the deck, and it gets 3,000 power on the end of the turn. So it can call out a Blaster Blade and it makes it into a 12k attacker. Calls out Blaster Dark if you're playing MLB. Can call out any piece that you need, especially if you were playing MLB back in the day. I remember the first list or the first deck that was popular with this new Light and Dark engine was Thing Saber Blasters or Thing Saber MLB, which used MLB to rack up soul using Lu to call out the pieces that you were missing, and then you would finish off the game with Thing Saber restanding multiple times because you had the ability to. The cool thing is that you were also using the other grade 2, so you're not eating through as much counterblast as you needed to. But yeah, this is just a perfect example of a card that can make an older card just work fantastic. The next card we run 2 copies of Blaster Blade Spirit. Blaster Blade Spirit is a great ride target. I only run 2 because he's also a pretty good rearguard to call. He's a 10k attacker. The only problem is when he's attacked, he just gets retired, which kind of sucks. But you can do Lu, Counter Blast 1, call out Blaster Blade Spirit because he's called out from deck, Counter Blast 1, and you have some control during the battle phase to retire some of your opponent's cards. But really, he's just a ride target. Then we run 2 copies of Starlight Violinist because you can tutor anything out of the deck for a Counter Blast and a Soul Blast except for itself. So you can place it, CB1, Soul Blast 1, call out a Lu if you have Flogel or Barkle, or call out Blaster Blade if you have a Flogel in hand, so you can do your multi-attack early on. The cool thing about it is it's not locked to Generation Break, so you can do it as soon as you hit grade 2. So, solid card. We run 4 copies of Wingull Youth. Wingull Youth, originally, I didn't care for it when it first came out because my thing was I always want Blaster Blade in the deck. Why do I want it in hand? And then I realized if it's in hand, you just save yourself a Counter Blast with not needing to call it out through Lu. And you could just use Flogel to maximize on saving your resources as well as the amount of attacks that you can do. He also goes into Soul, which is great, and looks at the top 7 for a card with Blaster Blade in its name. So it also helps you. If you don't have that grade 2, because the fact that you can swim with this guy or boost. Makes it so that if you have any blaster grade 1s, or if you have 2 of these in the front row, you can kind of go a little crazy if you go second and you have your first attack on turn 1 or turn 2. So great card, can fix your rights. The next card we run 4 copies of Blaster Friend Barkle. Blaster Friend Barkle is a great card because if you call Blaster Blade in front of it and you have a Blaster Vanguard, you can countercharge 1, which is major. The thing that sucks is it's Blaster Blade, so you can't call Blaster Blade Spirit or Exceed in front of it. But you win some, you lose some. But yeah, Blaster Friend Barkle, great card, especially because it's a blaster unit, so Wingull Brave is live if you go second. Which you do want to go second because it's, you get to stride first. 2 stride fodder, plain and simple. Then I run 4 copies of Liane. The tragic thing is she doesn't work early on in when it comes to guarding. So, if there's any big attacks during your first couple turns before you hit grade 3, then you're kind of cooked. And it also doesn't help like your rear guards because it's your grade 3 Vanguard with Blaster or Alfred in its name. But I still like Liane because the Soul Blast is just free. It's literally a free PG. So we run 4 copies of Encouragement or Encourage Angel. This should honestly be Cerebral, because it can make your final hand go up to 5 if you needed to. Or honestly, you could just run 12 crit if you really wanted to. The stand triggers are great, don't get me wrong. But 12 crit, what? You're swinging, you're doing normally you're doing 4 to 5 drive checks in a turn. So having multiple crits as opposed to stands is also great. That also makes it so that you don't have to worry about a rear guard attacking first before your Vanguard, and your opponent getting any sort of like defensive triggers to help them out, or defensive draws if they run draws. So yeah, this could honestly be 4 more critical triggers. We run the counter charge, soul charge, PG because it's great. Disregard the 10 and fucking... Oh no, actually these are the OGs. Thank goodness. Yeah, the fucking History Collection fucking ruined those cards with a goddamn errata. For Flogel, great card. At the end of the battle that your unit with Blaster Blade and your unit named Blaster Blade attacked, counter blast 1 or attack the Vanguard. Counter blast 1, restand it and shuffle this back to the deck. Like, this is insane. A crit that goes back to the deck and restands a rear guard. It's fucking crazy. And it's actually kind of funny because if we think about it, this is technically what all the overdressed rear guards have become, which is just counter blast 1 restand, except this is also a crit that goes back into the deck. Like, sure, it's a specific piece that it restands, but man, paved the way for some unhealthy shit in the card game. And then we run 4 copies of Erangel. Erangel is just Margol, but as a crit, which is cool. So yeah, also peep the sleeves. The sleeve game is strong, man. The sleeve game is strong. So, onto the G Zone. We run 4 copies of Divine Knight King, Alfred Holy Saber. So it's got an axe skill. GB2 counterblast 1. Choose a face down card with the same name as this unit in your G Zone and turn it face up. And choose a card from hand and discard it. If you have a heart card with Alfred or Blaster in its card name, choose one of your rear guards with Blaster Blade in its name, and until the end of turn, it gets 3,000 power and the continuous effect of during this unit's first battle of this turn, this unit performs Twin Drive. So the cool thing is, or really the funny thing is, they had to word it that way because obviously you're gonna give it to Blaster Blade, and fucking if Blaster Blade could have like Twin Drive multiple times, that'd be problematic if you had Flogels. The cool thing about this guy is that this makes it so that your turn you are checking for 5, but it also makes it so that your original Blaster Blade checks for Twin Drive as well, instead of having to do a single drive. We run 3 copies of Gancelot Peacesaber. This is your first stride, really. Man, when Gancelot Peacesaber first was revealed, I fucking almost did a backflip, dude. Like, this is my original GR from back in the day. When they reprinted it, I fucking bought this one. I should have bought 4, but I was also pretty broke. And then the Triple R. But yeah, I run 3 copies of Gancelot Peacesaber. It's a great card on attack. If you have a heart card with Blaster or Alfred, counter charge 1, and then it gets Drive +1. And if you already have a face-up card in your G Zone, it gets +1 crit. It's really cool because honestly, if you need to set up a turn, you could go into this guy instead of Holy Saber, or if you want to just make your opponent, like, if you want to damage deny your opponent, like there are 4 damage, you can swing with a crit and nothing else to kind of damage deny them, which is really cool, because then it's like, okay, well, this is going to swing, it's going to check for 4, and it already has a crit, it's already attacking for lethal, so it's either PG or you let it through and you die. So this card's great. It has a G-Zone skill that gives your face-up cards with Blaster Blade in their card name resist, but only during your turn, which is understandable. You can't get Blaster Blade resist through everybody's turn, but it would have been nice if it was during everybody's turn. So this is not something I would run if I was playing a competitive deck. If I was playing a competitive deck, I'd probably be running 1 copy of Alfred Oath, as well as 2 copies of Holy Squire. But here we're having fun, so we run 2 copies of Golden Knight of Gleaming Fang Garmor. It's a gold paladin that is also treated as a royal paladin unit. And it has an axe skill that's GB2. You choose a card from your drop zone, put it to the bottom of the deck, reveal 6 cards from the top of the deck. Choose the same number of your units as the number of high beasts revealed. Until the end of turn, they got 4k, and if 4 more cards were chosen, it gets a crit. Will you hit this? We do run a lot of high beasts in this list. We run what? The 4 Wingle Youths. We run the 4 Flogels, the 4 Blaster Friend Barkle, the Aaron Gulls. And if I were to run a 12 crits, I'd probably look for another high beast crit. So the chances of finding a high beast are pretty high. Will you probably hit that crit? Probably not. It's got another axe skill, Counter Blast 1, Soul Blast 1. If you have a hard card with Garmor in its name, you look at the top 3 and call a card. You'll never activate that second one. But the reason this guy's here is mainly because of the fact that you can put triggers back into the deck, which is cool. It's mostly for thematic reasons, and it's a really cool card to run, so I don't hate it. After that, we run the GB8. Remember GB8? Remember when you had to add 8 cards face up? This was supposed to be like the final boss. So this guy's skill is Generation Break 8, Counter Blast 1. When this unit attacks, you may pay the cost. Search your deck for up to 5 cards, call them to separate rear circles, and until the end of the turn, they get 4,000 power, and this unit gets critical +1. Insane. Just swing with your board, swing with this, call 5 more. It's fucking crazy. And I think it's up to 5. So that means if you don't even have to call anything back here if you don't have it. But you could, if you have any open counter blast, you could literally just do 3 Flogels, 2 Blaster Blades, or 3 Flogels, a Blaster Blade, and a Lou, put the Blaster Blade back, and just go ham. Or even a fucking Lou to even have more, depending on how many face-up counter blasts you have. The real game enders right here. We have Zereth Dragon of Zenith Peak Ultima. If you've seen a G deck profile, if you've seen a premium deck profile, actually maybe not premium. But this guy's here. This guy's baller. Counter Blast 2, when this unit is placed, look at the top, or search your deck for 4 cards. Add 2 to hand, or no, call 2 to separate rear circles and put the other 2 to the top of the deck. And then all of your units get your trigger effects. So the common thing that you do is, you place this fucker down, place 2 units that you're going to attack with, place 2 crits on the top, swing with him, and then give everything a crit. Or put a stand and then a crit so that you could attack with your rears, swing with him, check, stand, crit, and so everything stands, gains a crit, and then hopefully you have another trigger. I never do unless I'm playing Gurguit. And back in the day, you could use that one dragon to put a heal on the top. For G guards, we have 2 little Great Sage Marins. It's good. Honestly, you're really using it to call not PGs. You could run the one normal PG to call a Perfect Guard for Soul Blast, but then you still have to discard a card. You could still you could call because it gives it 5k shield. So I mean, calling a trigger is not bad. I believe it has to be grade 1 or greater, so you could call out the other Lou as well, which doesn't hurt because Lou on place gets another 5k, so he's a 10k shield. But there's different things that you can call. But if you really do want to run that normal, grade or that normal PG to have a Perfect Guard with this guy, you can do so. But you could just call a normal unit, because honestly, this guy, for Soul Blast, it's already gonna be 20, or not 20, but 30, 25k shield, so it'll be 36k shield. So yeah, you can run a regular PG or not, you don't have to. And then we run a Maskull, Great Flash Isolt, and Colbrum. Isolt's great because she gets 5k for each unit that you have on a circle. So that means that she Counter Blast 1. If you have a full field, then she's gonna get 25k shield on top of the 15 that she already has. So honestly, Isolt's really there for what Marin would be doing. But yeah, that's the list. This is a little longer, but that's just because, you know, Jeep decks had a little bit more depth to them compared to what we get in standard. But yeah, I got more to come, so stay tuned. These are going to be in a little series called Throwback Thursday. So next Thursday, be on the lookout because we're going to have another G deck for you.